Hello and welcome to My Wife Hates Musicals, the only way that I could get my wife to watch Carousel.
Hi.
So again, I'm Austin. This is Elle.
Hello.
This is your first time.
Hello.
If this is your first time tuning into the podcast, this is My Wife Hates Musicals, where we sit down and watch a musical, and my wife hates it.
So you don't have to.
So you don't.
I'm on fire today. Sorry.
And this one was a wild one. Yeah. By the way,
Yeah.
I'm Austin. I am a trans woman. I use she, her pronouns. Don't screw it up. But yeah.
We are listening through the radio. Or not radio. God, I'm old.
Yeah.
Through the podcasting app. Through Spotify, we are listening.
Yeah. I use Apple Podcasts because I'm basic.
Wherever you're getting your podcasts, the FBI agent in your phone is listening.
iHeartRadio, please sponsor us.
Yes, please. Give us money. College is expensive.
So anyway, yeah, Carousel. Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel. There's a lot about this one. This musical was a series of highs and lows.
It was a journey.
It was a journey.
Got me at the beginning.
I think we can say hands down that this was a better experience overall.
Yeah.
Than Oklahoma.
It was definitely, in my opinion, a better work overall than Oklahoma, the film.
Yeah, so this one was made in 1955.
So there's a couple years after Oklahoma. And
it also starred the exact same leads, which was wild.
McRae and Shirley Jones.
Yeah, Shirley Jones, who, by the way, we didn't mention this in the last episode, but Shirley Jones is also, in fact, the mother from the Partridge Family. And real-life stepmother, I believe, to David Cassidy.
Don't quote us on that.
But don't quote us on that. I'm pretty sure I read that. But yeah, somehow Shirley Jones in this one just looks infinitely better than she did in Oklahoma. She's absolutely drop dead gorgeous in this movie.
Did confirm she was the stepmother of David and Sean Cassidy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can quote us on that one.
Before we start jumping in too much about what was weird about this particular one, we'll get there. But you want to just jump right in?
Yeah, so I did my standard, what the fuck did we just watch? And I rabbit holed a little bit about this one. So we both agree that this is objectively, it is a good work. It just has, in my opinion, some real plot issues.
Oh my god, the plot in this is it's wild. Act 1 is so solid. It's completely and totally solid. The
coherent.
The meet cute is great. The music is great. The choreography is great. The costumes are beautiful.
The meet cute was pretty good.
I will say, unlike Oklahoma, where the name is not in the title.
Although
so the setting takes a little while to come around and understand. But it does in fact take place in Maine.
And this musical is more Maine the musical than Oklahoma was Oklahoma the musical.
Oh, absolutely.
I swear to God, this musical is an advertisement for Maine.
Yeah.
Like the whole fucking thing.
It's very Maine. And it's really funny because Rodgers and Hammerstein have no idea what a Maine accent sounds like. For those of you who don't know what a Maine accent sounds like, please go watch a Stephen King movie because they all take place in Maine.
Yeah, for some reason.
Well, it's because he's from Maine.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, he could write about something different.
I mean, write about what you know. Yeah. Obviously, he had a fair amount of success with it.
Oh, yeah, I'm not criticizing.
Nothing helps you be a better writer than coming from Maine and doing just an absolute boatload of cocaine.
Don't quote us on that.
I don't do cocaine. This podcast is not endorsed by cocaine. So it opens up, and interestingly, this movie does not start with an overture.
Nope, does not, and neither does the musical.
Yeah, and usually it starts out with an overture because you're in the theater and it comes on, it gives you a chance to find your seats, get settled in, you're in musical mode. But nope, this one just jumps right in to the plot. No song, plot.
It's direct into plot.
I have here.
I think we went
that it is shot in Panavision 55.
CinemaScope.
Sorry,
55.
CinemaScope 55. Please punish me later, please.
It's just no. That's what you want.
Damn. So it opens and you see our main character on a soundstage.
Billy Bigelow,
and he's in heaven.
Well,
on a ladder.
I said, "Is this heaven?" West Virginia?
They're all, like, he is with a whole bunch of other people shining stars, like polishing stars. And I have down on here that he is clearly breaking OSHA rules. There's a big OSHA violation because he is sitting backwards on a ladder, which will get you fired in my trade. Don't do it. Especially not on a creaky old wooden ladder like this dude's on. But anyway, he's shining stars, and a dude comes up to him and tells him that there's trouble downstairs.
Yeah, with his family or something. His language is vague. He just says names that we're, I guess, supposed to know, but we don't yet.
Right.
Something's going on with so-and-so and the other so-and-so. And we're like, okay. And you gotta go down there and check it out. We thought pretty quickly that there was going to be a song. There was not a song.
No, it was just a swell of music.
It seemed like he was gonna have a song, and I was like, oh, here it comes, that annoying open to show song. But no. Like, he meets with the guy, I guess, like, the admin.
Oh, actually, this is where the overture pumps in. It's not a song that swells, it's the overture.
No, there is no overture in this musical.
Is there not?
No, I looked it up. There is no. They decided not to put an overture in this one because they feel like you just hear the sound of seats and everyone's sitting. And two, they lamented the fact that, like, the orchestra that plays for, like, a musical, set up for musical theater, doesn't have enough, like, brass to overcome the sound of everyone sitting anyway. So they decided not to put an overture in this production.
That's really interesting to me.
Yeah. So it starts with them.
In fact, it might be the only.
So we've been talking about this
Broadway musical that I've seen that does not have an overture. And it's interesting that we were talking about that because I said not all of them do.
And you're right.
And this one is an example of one that does not have an overture.
Yeah. So, and I did see that and went, oh my god, yeah, Austin's right. So he's talking to, like, this admin in heaven, right?
The Starkeeper.
Okay. And he is trying to figure out if he can, everyone gets one day, right, to go back down to Earth. So he's trying to figure out if he can do that. And the Starkeeper's like, well, you said that you didn't want to take advantage of your day, that you didn't want to go down there. And then he's like, well, fuck. And the guy's like, yeah, well, maybe we can make an exception. Tell me about your life. And he's like, oh, you're definitely not going to let me go down. And he's like, no, I'm the judge, so let me,
And then he's like, but you already know my whole life. And he's like, yeah, but I want to hear it from you.
And then we proceed to actually start the musical, which the majority of the musical takes place in flashback.
Yeah.
So
we open up on a carousel. Oh, look, it's carousel.
It's a boardwalk, right? Kind of like a boardwalk type.
It's in like a fun fair,
a
carnival type thing. But I don't think it was a traveling one. In the description, he is called a Carnie, and he really is. He is a barker for this carousel.
Is that a slur?
No.
Okay, I want to make sure.
I was a barker.
No, not Barker, honey. The other one. Carney? Is that a slur?
Yes, kind of.
Oh, I mean, because
it's not like a super offensive term.
It's just derogatory.
Some Carnies would call themselves Carnies, but it's a slang term for somebody who works at Carnival.
Okay, cool. I think probably just meant, like, it's all about intent, and if someone says don't say that, then don't say that.
Yeah. I don't think it's offensive.
Okay, cool. I was just curious. Comment
but
below.
Like literally in the Wikipedia, he describes him as a Carnie.
Oh, okay, cool.
So anyway, he's a barker, which I did, like I was saying, I did work as a barker for a little while, and when we lived in New York City, I worked as a barker for an Italian restaurant and piano bar called Da Marino, which was really fun. It was on 49th Street, right next door to the Book of Mormon and right across the street from Chicago. So
2 musicals I'd rather watch than this.
Yeah. I would, like, when the theaters would release, I would stand out on the side of the corner and trying to get people in. It got to the point where I would rewrite songs from Book of Mormon to entice people in. At one point I was like, hello, my name is Greeter Scott, and I would like to tell you about this most amazing dish. Oh, wow. And yeah, I know it was super lame, but I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. So anyway, his job is to do that. Any chance
to just sing at people against their will.
Almost entirely. In fact, that's the entire reason I got married.
Yeah, basically. It's pretty expensive to break up at this point. So, and I don't know how we would divide up the pets. I just wear earplugs.
But his job is to be like, come ride the carnival. Now moving 15 miles an hour faster. 5 cents gets you 15 minutes.
The carousel at the carnival. It'd be really funny to ride a carnival. Like, how would one go about that?
Sorry, I'm just thinking about riding the Carnies.
What is this, a carnival for ants? Oh, but also interesting part. This opening scene where we see the meet cute, they don't talk. You don't hear them talking.
Yeah.
You just hear the sounds of the carousel playing and then the sound of people and like...
And you see like... So he lets her on there and
there's like a back
woman,
and forth.
Yeah, and there's like an interplay between them. And the woman that owns the carousel doesn't like the girl.
Yeah, doesn't want the girl to get up there.
And I think the reason that she doesn't want the girl to get up there is because she has a thing for Billy herself.
Yeah, totally does.
So, and she's like an older woman. So anyway, she kicks her off, she gets back on, she kicks her off, she gets back on. And then we do a scene transition.
Yeah, and she like tries to confront the two girls, right? Not Lori. Lori was her name in the last musical. Julie. Julie and Carrie. So she comes to confront them. I think she even calls Julie a slut at one point.
Yeah, no, she 100%.
Yeah, and I was just like, wow, that was really, And then Billy comes over and hears them arguing, and like Mrs. Muskrat, that older woman, she's just like, well, I'll let you go, yada yada, and I don't want anybody that's like a slut on my ride or whatever. And he's just like, well, I'll leave. Don't treat her like that. She said, well, oh, no. She threatens to fire him. And then he says, okay, bye. And then she tries to walk it back. And he's like, nope, I'm good. And he like quits his job, basically, right? And then... Yeah,
I have written down here, slut shaming was so much more intense in the 50s. And I also have written down, God, I'm a sucker for 50s dresses.
Oh, yeah, that's totally fair.
I love the fashion in this. There's so many pretty dresses.
Yeah, there are some cool dresses in this one. They have their altercation or whatever, and he goes, oh, I'll meet you somewhere. Like, that bench in this place? Well, I'll meet you there. And so the girls go to gather to the bench, and then we get, finally, our first fucking song.
Yeah, actually, I've written down, I was like, hey, man, there's still no songs here. Oh, nope. There it is.
Yeah, my note is, oh, damn, I was enjoying this. And then, bam, annoying song.
Yeah, I have underneath this. This song sucks.
What was it called? I wrote Boring Mr. Snow.
I have Fake Out Song.
Oh, what's it called? Let's get the name. Hold on.
Yeah, no, this is Mr. Snow.
Is it called Mr. Snow? I just wrote Boring Mr. Snow. Oh, man. I think this musical has the opposite problem of Oklahoma. Where with Oklahoma, the interesting songs were the songs the supporting characters had. I think it's the opposite in Carousel. The supporting character songs are all incredibly boring, and the main character songs are good. Which I would much rather have that problem.
Well, and it's a fascinating conundrum with Carousel in general, because for once, I was way less enamored with the music than I was with the singing specifically than I was with the dancing numbers and with the actual plot and dialogue, because it was so interesting. And then in Act 2, it just spiraled so hard that it was like a train wreck and hard to look away.
Oh, today I learned there was a RogersandHammerstein.com. Okay, there is not an overture. There is the prologue, the Carousel Waltz. And then the first song is called Just Mr. Snow. I was pretty close.
Yeah.
And it's a really boring song, basically.
It's about how this girl is...
Carrie, the friend.
Yes, Carrie is in love with her man who
owns a
herring boat and stinks of fish. And how she hates the smell of fish, but is now nose blind to the smell of fish.
She's like Pavlov's dog to the fish smell now.
Yeah.
She's like, the fish means...
Which means she's secretly a lesbian, right?
That was my first thought, but this man is so boring. Like...
Oh my God, his laugh. We're not there yet.
But... Oh, we're not there yet.
Oh, Mr. Snow's laugh is terrible.
It's also weird because, like, Carrie takes this opportunity of, oh, cool, you like this guy, and he just lost his job for you. Now I've been waiting to tell you that I have a boyfriend, and I can tell you because it's just totally going to result in you having a boyfriend. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's an odd thing.
I don't know if you've noticed this, but it feels like there's stuff missing from the musical, right? Like,
yeah,
it's a 2-hour musical, which I'm not complaining about the length.
Yeah,
but
it's definitely on the shorter side. Yeah, it's not that the plot is thin. It's like...
It's just weird.
It's weird, and I don't quite understand the journey it goes on. But... Again, we're in Act 1. Act 1 is pretty cogent. It's pretty cogent. It makes a lot of sense. So you have your meet cute. The guy walks away from his job.
He meets back up with them at the bench.
Yeah, he does meet back up with them.
And Carrie's like...
tells Carrie to fuck off.
And Carrie's like, Escandalo! We have to go back because we're going to lose our jobs at the mill if we don't get home in time. And Julie's like, okay. And Carrie leaves. And then I have a note here. Does everybody hang out on this freaking block? Because then the mill owner shows up.
No, it's the cop first.
Oh, is it? I thought it was the mill owner and then the cop.
Oh, you're right. It is
the mill owner shows up and it's like rah between Billy and the mill owner, and then the cop's like, "Well, Mr. Man," twirling his little cop baton.
Oh yeah, he's wearing like your classic
penis head
Keystone cops.
Yeah.
In investigator beat cop.
Yeah. This is this rebel giving you some trouble, Mr. Landowner. Mr. Colonizer,
Yeah, so anyway, the owner of the mill offers to take her home. And
even though she's going to be past curfew or whatever.
All things forgiven if she just comes now.
And she's like, fuck off. I want to lose my job too. So they both lose their jobs together. And the cop is like, this guy has been like luring women away and stealing their money.
Oh,
and she's just like, I'm not scared of him. And I'm like, wow, this is real. They're both real dumb.
I have down here 2 people just getting fired for each other.
Yeah. Oh, and at this point, this is when I figured out we were in Maine. I have
down here, all cops are bastards, especially this one.
I have it here, I finally figure out at this point, I think 30 minutes into the musical, that, like, we're in Maine. I could not figure the accent out.
Yeah, because I have down here right, as well, fur.
I was like,
everything's
Maine.
Fur.
Yeah, fur. I was like, Maine, what is this accent?
I really don't understand this accent.
This next scene, okay, so...
I wrote down here, like, are Rogers and Hammerstein writing in dialect for this just because it's a hard habit to break after Homo, Oklahoma?
I don't know.
Are they going to be, like, halfway into the Sound of Music and start saying fur?
Apparently, they did research on the accent.
Not very good research.
But it wasn't like they, like, moved to Maine or something. It was very, like, we looked this up, you know?
Oh,
like,
when you're from Maine, you sound like this.
Is that how you sound?
Kind of Maine, yeah. I went down...
You sound like a gangster, like you're a mob
No,
person.
I went down to Maine and did some lobster fishing. Went fishing for lobster.
Or you sound like a Kennedy. Is this a Boston?
That's where the Kennedys are from.
But they were from Boston.
They're from Boston and Kennebunkport, Maine.
Oh, I'll be damned. I didn't know that. Okay, I'll give you that one. Point Austin. Okay, we're digressing now. We gotta rein this in. This can't be like a Lord of the Rings length podcast about a 2-hour fucking musical. Next scene is the love scene. The meet cute, basically. And again, Rogers and Hammerstein can't write a meet cute unless the 2 characters talk about how they don't actually like each other.
Yeah, that's true.
The Rogers and Hammerstein, we're in love, but we're not in love song. If I Loved You. And it's interesting because, like, the song sounds like it's over, but then there's actually a recitative, for lack of a better term. I don't know if that's...
No one's going to know what that means.
Well, I don't know if that's what it's called in a musical. In opera, you don't really have a lot of spoken dialogue. The dialogue is sung dialogue, and it's called a recitative. And that's basically what happens here in the middle of this song, because Julie sings the song for a bit, and then there's kind of like a little bit of sung back and forth, and it's a different part of the song. It's not the same. Then we go back to the original theme, and Billy sings If I Loved You, kind of continuing that. I thought this scene was beautiful. I made a note of the shot composition because they pan back and it's like a Bob Ross painting. Like, they're standing on this like kind of peninsula jutting into the water, and then you can see the water reflecting them back, and it's such a cool looking shot.
Yeah, it is really pretty.
Yeah, I really didn't have any complaints about this scene. Then I made a note, the most romantic cheek kiss. It was so sweet. My
notes in here say that we're 30 minutes in and only 2 songs. Elle is thrilled.
Oh yeah, I was really enjoying it. And I'm not gonna lie, and I don't know if I told you this when we were watching it, but the first 30 minutes give opera hard. Like, the 2 of them both losing their jobs and, like, falling in love instantly, like, it gives opera for me, for some reason.
Yeah, I have down, like, this is just better all around. It's a better love story. The leads are hotter, which is weird because they're the same leads, but damn, Shirley Jones is hot in this. And then, so yeah, that was that scene. And now we move back up.
Lobsters! That's what I wrote.
For a brief...
Oh!
Like, there's a little brief scene in heaven.
Oh,
and then he's like, well, then you gotta hear what... He's like, it sounds like you were in a great space. He's like, well...
Because I hadn't fucked it up yet.
I was struggling because I couldn't find a job.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I didn't write this down. I was too busy watching to make notes to this
And
part.
they ended up being completely reliant on her cousin
Nettie.
Cousin Nettie, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, like, he says that he didn't mind it, but he was just bored. And that's when we find out...
We cut back to lobsters.
Yeah, we cut back to have, like, the coolest dance number I've seen in a musical.
We're not there
it's
yet.
So cool.
It's lobsters, and then, oh shit, they got hitched. So we find out they got married. Neither one of them have jobs, and they got married, and they go to stay with Nettie, and Nettie, like, supports them. And none of this is, like, expressly said, but, like, you kind of get it through the what he tells the Starman, or whatever, that she was supporting them, essentially. But we don't see that happen. We just see, oh, they're hitched, and Nettie is supporting them. And then we get June is busting out again. Busting out all over?
Yeah, my joke was, who is June, and who is she busting out over?
Oh, see, my thought is... Oh, go ahead.
Always be busting.
Oh, yeah.
Like a nut.
Yeah. I was thinking, like, you know, this would be a great title for a song for Pride Month, but it's definitely not that. June's busting out all over. Oh, my God! So, this freaking dance number is amazing.
Yeah, no, this dance number is the tits. It's amazing.
It's so fucking good.
You get, like these... There's two different schools of sailors who are, like, you have, like, the Popeye type dancing sailors, and then...
Like the old man from the sea.
And then you have, like, old man in the sea with, like, pipes and, like... They're doing, like, a clogging
and,
dance.
Like, aren't the Popeye sailors shirtless?
And then, yes, the Popeye sailors take off their shirts, and they're goddamn gorgeous.
Yeah.
This is like, especially for the 50s. Like, generally, I'm not into 50s hot. These guys are fucking gorgeous.
I'm to be a young gay person, a young gay man watching this in the 50s.
Oh, my God. And
that would have been, like, a special day.
Yeah, and then, like, the girls are all gorgeous, and they're doing these, like, super impressive, super acrobatic dances. And this is not like in Oklahoma. You don't have, like, a lot of, like, the weird, awkward, like, art house.
Or, like, anachronistic dancing. Like, it feels authentic to the time and place and what they're doing. It seems like they could actually be having a party and doing these crazy shit.
They end up doing, like, some break dancing shit. They end up doing this Russian dancing thing where there's where, like, 3 sailors will be leaning on each other's backs and they're doing, like, kick moves.
It was really impressive.
And, like, they're up on the roof and they're down off the roof, and then there was one fat joke in there, which I wasn't a big fan of. But
they do win our extra award for this.
Oh, yes. We have Skinny Guy and Fat Girl.
I put Jack Spratt and his wife.
Yes. Who the skinny guy is wearing a fantastically ugly...
And when he showed up...
A houndstooth thing.
He showed up in the very beginning of the scene, and I was like, that's the guy. He's going to be the guy. And then by the end of the musical number, we were like, yep, he and his partner, they were the couple.
Oh, they were cute as hell.
They were so cute. Like, I was like, oh, a normal-looking couple. I did make a note here. So Nettie does have, like, a bit of singing in the song, the cousin, and she totally gets popped in the face by one of the extras, and they kept the take. It was really funny. We went back and rewound it to confirm, but she does get popped in the face during her little bit of solo in there. But yeah, insane athleticism on display. Oh, I wrote tattoo dance. So I'm assuming that they were dancing and had tattoos.
Oh yeah, that was the Popeye sailors. They were dancing and showing off their tattoos.
And then shin dancing. I guess they were tapping shins or something.
Yeah.
So lots of interesting shit with the choreography. So yeah, that was a cool song. I didn't have any complaints or notes there. And then we come back to, I think this is the part where the plot starts going a bit left. We're like, oh, meet cute, okay.
Yeah, this is in like the second act, and
I think we're still in the first act.
No, the first act ends when they when they get married, right?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, well, whatever. This is where we get into the first...
That's where it breaks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, now's the time to get into it.
So, do you want to take it, or do you want to...
I'm going to hand this one over to you.
Okay, so I guess a trigger warning for domestic violence, because Carousel becomes Domestic Violence the Musical from here on out. So, Billy hits his wife, and it's never off-screen. We never see it, but we know it, and the rumor is spreading around that he hit his wife, and he's just like...
I was like, I didn't beat my wife, I just hit her.
Like, one time. Like, oh my god. Ugh.
Yeah, and it's super bad.
I was pulling for Billy. I liked him until this point.
Yeah, I just don't understand why that had to be a part of it. Like, I get the fact that he can't be perfect. Like, he's got to be this anti-hero, but this wasn't the way to do it.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. So
it pulled me out of the movie and made me disassociated, not like the main character.
which sucks because like you're supposed to be rooting for this love story.
Because otherwise Billy Bigelow is a great character.
He gets worse though. He does dumb shit the rest of the production.
I know he does stupid shit, and I don't feel like a lot of it's earned plot wise. But anyway, he hits his wife, and then we find out about it, and then we meet his friend Jigger.
With a J. We did not name him.
And his friend is apparently somebody that he met in prison, and this guy's he's a bad guy.
He's a con.
Like he's a violent criminal.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like Billy's more like a con man, and that this guy has no problem getting his hand dirty.
Yeah.
And he suggests that they rob someone at this point. That's what I have written, is that the cotton guy Chekhov's cotton mill owner that they established earlier in the movie, they suggest that they rob him. He suggests that Billy rob him for money, and that they can use this clam bake that's coming up or whatever, because we have yet another Rodgers and Hammerstein production where a big, huge plot point hinges on a big party.
A big party.
But,
and he says, I'm not going to go to the clam bake. He's all angsty because he can't find a job. And then Carrie and Mr. Snow come up.
And Mr. Snow has the worst laugh.
Oh my god, his laugh is creepy as hell. I don't know why it's in there. It's a non sequitur. It makes him really unlikable as a person, which is sad because he seems like a decent human being.
But then...
Like, he's written pretty decent.
Well, not in the second act.
What did he do?
He's like an elitist fucking prick in the second act.
Is he?
Yeah, like he treats Louise like shit later. Remember? When he's the dude with the 9 kids. That's Mr. Snow.
Oh.
Yeah. But in the first act, we have no reason to dislike Mr.
Clara.
Snow.
Or
Carrie's husband. Yeah, Carrie and Mr. Snow end up together.
Yeah.
Oh, and he offers Billy a job. Or he was going to offer Billy a job, and Billy tells
Billy's
him...
a prick about it.
And then Billy tells him to fucking shove it, because he doesn't want to smell like herring. So, yeah, he tells Mr. Snow to shove it. And then, word spreads fast, is what I put, because Mrs. Muskrat shows up, and she knows that Billy hit his wife.
So the redhead carousel owner shows up.
Who is hot for Billy, is what I put.
She is being a real bitch.
Wants him to come back.
Yeah, wants him to come back, but wants him to leave Julie.
Yeah, that
in order to come back.
He needs to be single for the people to want to get on the carousel.
Yeah.
Sure. And she said that she would, give him her dead husband's ring or something.
Her dead husband's ruby ring.
Yeah, she's shooting her shot. And, he's thinking about it, but he doesn't want to leave Carrie. And then, these douchebag people are around, basically, and Julie. All Julie wants him to do is talk to her. And she needs to talk to him, and it's just a her conversation, and nobody else needs to be there. And so he has to basically tell people to fuck off. And Julie shares the news.
That she is pregnant.
Julie is fucking pregnant. I wrote, oh god, Julie is pregnant, ! Because this is, the worst time. But I think that this leads to probably the coolest scene. One of the coolest scenes in the movie.
Are you talking about Soliloquy?
Soliloquy. It's an 8-minute long song.
Yeah, Soliloquy is really beautiful.
It's a very well written
as
song.
Somebody who, I really want to be a parent, the thoughts that go through his head at the point where he finds out that he's about to be a father are really, really interesting. And I think they're very accurate. He goes through and plans his kids' both lives. He starts out with a boy. Like, if it's a boy, he'll be an athlete, and he'll do this and he'll do that, and he's not going to be a sissy, and he'll say that his dad can beat up all the other dads, and he'll be right. And then my thought is, when is this dude going to die?
Yeah, because we're this is all told from retrospect.
Yeah,
he's in the afterlife.
Yeah, and he's turning into this really interesting character. And then he finishes with the boy verse and then goes, oh shit, what if it's a girl?
Oh,
and the
fuck.
The thought rocks him to the core. He's like, oh my god, what if it's a girl? And then he's like, I'm gonna have to defend this girl. I'm gonna have to pull my shit together, because if it's a girl, I'm going to have to be there for her and protect her and be a man for this innocent young thing.
I would like to interject a tiny point here.
Sure.
It's kind of like that realization that, a lot of men, it seems like, I'm about to make a comment about men as a big group. Ready for this one. It seems like a lot of men view women differently after having a daughter.
Yeah.
Like, especially, like, fuckboys. Like, guys who, like, would screw around or not treat, like, hit their wives. Like, people who wouldn't treat their, like, the women in their lives correctly. When they become the father, it's like, holy shit. I can't let anybody treat my daughter the way I treated women in my life. And it's so interesting how it takes that for someone like Billy to be like, yep.
Yeah.
And I think, in a way, that's actually a really accurate writing of a character. That's a very real character trait. Yeah. So, like, it really humanizes him.
This as
ridiculous as the setup is,
as this movie is, like, this is way more realism. Like, this is way more method than you'll get in a lot of other Rodgers and Hammerstein stuff. If this wasn't a musical, I could easily have seen this role being played by a Brando.
Yeah, I kept saying that. It felt like if it wasn't a musical, it would have been a very serious, like an Oscar-winning, like, production.
Yeah, it's very on the waterfront.
Yeah, that's what I kept saying the whole time.
I also had the thought that this entire song is basically the musical theater equivalent of the Creed song with Arms Wide Open.
Yeah, I don't know that song well enough to confirm or deny.
It's all about getting the news that your wife is pregnant and wondering whether or not you're ready to do this. And the song ends with this soaring note. This man is just pouring his heart out and hits like the type, like, beautiful operatic final note. And
funny story.
Go ahead.
Backstory. Rodgers, there's back and forth about which one of Rodgers or Hammerstein suggested the having a daughter at the end of that song, but I believe it's Rodgers who had 2 daughters, and he went, but what if it's a girl? And that's why we get this part of the song.
It's one of the most powerful parts of the musical.
Yeah, and knowing he's going to die, it makes it so much more tragic for him to talk about this child.
Like, you can see it. You can just see it.
It's giving opera.
You can see him just get hit in the gut by this realization. And it's...
Hold on to that one for later.
Oh, God.
I know.
Too soon.
Actually, just a little bit. But it's great. Soliloquy is a really cool piece of writing.
Yeah, and it ends up, the last line is like, whether I have to beg, borrow, steal, or kill, I'll get this. I'll get this money. I'll get the money that I need. I'll get the money that I need to raise my daughter. Yeah,
and I said that McCrae is still a hell of a singer. He does a really good job on this song.
McCrae fucking nailed this to the wall.
Yeah, amazing. Like, there's just, like, I think that last note, I was like, God damn, that man can fucking sing.
Yeah.
So after the scene, he's kind of like, okay, it's like his turn of change of heart. He's gonna, try to do whatever he needs to do. And then Billy starts immediately gaslighting his wife. Immediately gaslights his wife. And not like in the TikTok gaslighting, like literally tells her, like, at first he was like, we're not going to go to the clam bake. I don't want to do this. And then immediately says, of course we're going to go to the clam bake.
Yeah, why would you convince me not to go to the clam bake?
And I was just like, Jesus Christ. Oh, and this is when Soliloquy is the end of Act 1. Finale of Act 1.
And then we get to the clam bake.
Okay, funny story.
Oh, by the way, he says yes to the dude.
Yes, he does say
Jigger
yes.
he tells Jigger that he's in.
So the whole reason they're going to the clam bake,
is for them to escape the clam bake and come back and rob a dude.
Yeah, and then there are musical numbers that are missing from the movie. There's one called Blow High, Blow Low. So we had, after the June is busting out, before Soliloquy. Interesting, so they changed the order of things. So little Soliloquy happens, then they get on the boat, and then they have the song...
Blow Low is them traveling to the island.
Oh, perhaps. Well, there's a song, When the Children Are Asleep. Remember when they're on the boat? When they're on the way to the clam bake?
Yeah. That's when Mr. Snow and them are
talking about how they're...
About weird,
so it's... because this is when Billy mentions to Julie that he would like to go to San Francisco.
Right.
Yeah, so the boring couple are talking about what life will be like when they're parents and when the kids are asleep. The main couple are talking about, oh, we could go to San Francisco or whatever. And I felt that was very random.
Yeah.
But there is a reason that it's in there. Because, we'll get to it later.
Okay.
I figured it out. I figured out why the musical makes no fucking sense. And I can't wait to tell you.
I'm really looking forward to it. When are you going to tell me about this?
When we get through the plot. There's not much left.
Okay.
Real nice clam bake. Do you have any notes about this one? Because I have notes.
A real nice clam bake is a completely and totally pointless song.
The song is fucking filler.
It is 100% filler.
Do you know why this song is filler and where it came from?
No.
It's a leftover from Oklahoma.
Is it really?
Yep, it is a leftover from Oklahoma.
No.
That is why it fucking sucks. Yep. So when I was like, this song is filler, and then I read that and I was like, justifiable comment, it's fucking filler.
Yeah, it's literally just a song where they talk about how a clam, like, they say, we're at a clam bake.
They have a clam bake, and then sing about having a clam bake.
And then it pans to after the clam bake, and they say, wasn't that a cool clam bake? And that is all the song is.
It's dumb. It doesn't need to be there. So, that happens.
I said I have written down, they are just vividly depicting a clam bake. No metaphor, just clam bake.
Yeah. And then we have the creepy scene. Remember the creepy scene?
Remind me?
The creepy scene with the friend, the crook friend.
Oh.
And Carrie.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, I have written down that I really don't like Jigger. Jigger is just...
Do you want me to take it?
Sure.
Okay, so... Jigger, like, has the hots for Carrie, and so he follows Carrie out into the woods, and he's like, you shouldn't be out here alone. What if some man were to be untoward or take advantage of you? And she's like, oh, no. And then he's like, well, I will teach you some self-defense moves. These self-defense moves are clearly meant to just put him in close physical contact with Carrie. He's, like, creeping and it's very predacious, like, sick kind of...
it's gross.
It's gross.
It's very sexual assaulty. And also, Rogers and Hammerstein have a very low opinion of women.
Yeah.
Because she's an idiot.
Yeah.
Carrie is an
both
idiot.
The women in this story are kind of dumb, unfortunately.
Yeah. Like,
and
completely
then,
down to be gaslit.
And then her... Okay, so...
And then Mr. Snow comes in.
Mr. Snow comes up, and, like, Jigger has Carrie, like firemen carrying over his shoulder, and Mr. Snow...
This is how firemen carry people.
And then Mr. Snow gets mad at Carrie. And then there's this song called Stonecutters Cutting on Stone about, like, you know, don't be with a man who has, like, a really strong moral compass because, like, he's judgmental or whatever. And, yeah, it's not a bad song. Oh, and then I think Julie is trying to talk to Carrie, and all I wrote here is, Carrie, don't take romantic advice from Julie. She married a wife beater. Oh, and then what is this called? What's the use of wondering? I called it the Just Lay Back and Take It song. What the fuck was this one about? After Billy lives... Okay, this is from RogersandHammerstein.com. After Billy leaves with Jigger, Julie realizes her husband is up to no good. Left alone once again, she ponders the nature of their relationship. Yeah, it's very much the, you know what, it's stand by your man, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
I have this as Battered Wife Syndrome, the musical.
Yeah, something made him the way that he is, whether he's false or true, and something gave him the things that are his. One of those things is you.
Yeah, and at one point she says, like, oh,
anywhere he leads you, you will walk. Anytime he needs you, you'll go running there like mad. Blech. God, leave him! Okay. Oh, God. Okay, so that happens. They end up on the dock. They're waiting for the guy, right? They're waiting to rob the guy who owns the cotton gin or the mill or whatever. And then they play blackjack. And Billy is playing blackjack with Jigger and gambling away all the money he might win from robbing this guy. Like hundreds of dollars. He's only going to get like $1,500 and he gambles away, I think, like most of it, if not all of it. Yeah, in these stupid, obviously rigged blackjack hands because Jigger gets 21 every fucking single time. And that's not how blackjack works. So that happens. They make to go rob the guy. And then, surprise, the motherfucker has a gun. They showed up and brought knives to a gunfight. And then Jigger bolts, and Billy...
And Billy has this knife tucked into his belt the whole time. It's not in a case. It's just tucked into his belt. And so the guy pulls out his gun and starts shooting at Jigger, and Billy starts to run away. And then he turns the gun on Billy, and he's like, don't run.
And Billy's like, fuck that.
Billy's like, fuck that, and runs, and falls over a barrel, and rolls down off of a stack of barrels onto the knife that's in his pants, and stabs himself in the gut.
He accidentally commits seppuku.
Yeah. Like, literally.
Yeah. And then, of course, everybody's coming back from the clam bake at this point, and Julie's with the group of them, and they're all walking back, and then she sees him and is there for his last scene as he lays there dying.
And from here, we get the best...
The best fucking song.
Yeah, musical. No, this is the smash hit from the musical.
I was like, I need to learn this song.
Yeah, it's called
and Nettie sings it.
It's called "You'll Never Walk Alone." It's a gorgeous song.
It's a banger. It's a really good fucking
problematic.
song. No, It's a great song. Like, I feel like it's applicable outside of this.
Yeah, because Julie's like, what the hell am I going to do now? I am fucked. I am beyond fucked right now.
And Nettie's like,
don't worry about it. You have me. You'll never be alone.
Yeah, it's a really good song. Yeah. Apparently, it's made its way to the Billboard Pop 100 4 times, each sung by a different vocalist. This is as per RogersHammerstein.com. Patti LaBelle, the Bluebells. Gary...
Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells. Gary and the Pacemakers. Jerry or Gary? Elvis Presley sang it.
And the Jordanaires. No, with the Jordanaires.
Songs been recorded by Nina Simone, Josh Groban, Dropkick Murphys, Marcus Mumford, Aretha Franklin.
I want to hear the Dropkick Murphys do it.
Yeah, the theme song for the Liverpool's football
That's
club.
where I've heard it. It's the theme pool for Liverpool United.
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't know that before I listened to it the first time. Because I actually just really liked it. I'm probably going to end up learning this song.
I'm going to go look up the Dropkick Murphys version of it.
Well, I guess we know what we're doing later.
Dropkick Murphys, if you want to sponsor our podcast, we'll play your version. Same to you, Marcus Mumford.
The song is amazing.
Marcus Mumford, come talk to me. Not for the podcast, I just want to talk to you. You sound super interesting.
So that happens, and then... That's what happened, and that's how he dies. And then we
go back to heaven.
We get a 15-year time jump.
Yeah.
Bam, 15-year time jump. And then we get...
his daughter.
I just wrote, wee!
Oh, yeah. His daughter is a total tomboy.
She's a wild child.
Yeah, a wild child. I have written down that she's wearing a gorgeous dress.
Yes, of course.
And that they are having... So, the scene with his daughter... and her friends. She's friends with like these 3 boys. It's all done in interpretive dance.
It's a ballet. It's the second Rodgers and Hammerstein production in a row that features a ballet. There is a ballet in the middle of Oklahoma as well. The Drug Trip Ballet.
Yeah, and this one is his daughter's childhood ballet. I have done that, her and her 3 male friends, it's giving me polycule vibes.
I put, it's the Lost Boys.
And apparently, like, she's kind of a badass. She's kind of an anarchist. She very much turns her nose up at the high class people.
Class warfare. Like, we have class warfare. Seize the means. It's very much, they use this ballet to, like, tell her life story and how she's grown up and, like, her relation to society. And, like...
And at one point she says my favorite line in the musical, which is, I hate you. I hate you all so much.
We need to go back and clip that. We really do.
Dude, I love that line. And it was like, it was a really great delivery.
I will say...
Oh, they have the fucking human carousel.
Yes, I wrote this down. So, 1, she's 15. So she, like, kisses this boy or whatever, and she's 15. But the vibe is definitely that, like, it seems like he realizes how young she is, maybe, and that he doesn't go further than kissing her in this big interpretive dance scene. Also, I'm convinced that whoever, like, actually choreographed that section and costumed the people that were in the carousel has a pony fetish.
Yeah, she goes to this carousel made out of human horses.
And they're all female.
They're all female, and there's a barker who I guess is supposed to remind us of her dad, and, like, they kiss.
Yeah, and she falls in love with the carousel.
He's watching this whole thing.
From heaven or the afterlife.
No, he's down there at this point, isn't he?
Oh, I don't know. You know, I really didn't get to... In my mind, it seemed like that was all kind of loose as far as when he was actually there or not. Because, like, it seems like it was meant to represent a large section of her life, but he was technically only supposed to be there a day.
Right.
Yeah, it's a really cool ballet.
Yeah.
Very good dancing, very well done.
And then... That's the end of my notes, I guess.
Oh, well, there's not a ton that happens after this. So you're like, oh, the whole build-up, right? Like, oh, yeah, the whole beginning of the story is he's got to go down there and help,
He doesn't do jack shit.
Yeah, so first off, we learned that Carrie is, in fact, a clown car. She had 9 fucking children with boring Mr. Snow. 9. One of whom...
In 15 years, do the math.
One of whom, Enoch, has a crush on Louise, his daughter. And then I wrote, what the fuck am I watching? He hits his daughter.
At one point, Billy does, in fact, hit his daughter.
You see him before he comes down from heaven make a point of stealing one of the stars he's been polishing. And so he's like, he can see that his daughter is, like, in pain and suffering just like he did when he was younger. And, like, the whole conceit is that the guy, the administrative clerk from heaven is like, you got to go down there and help her. I think you could do some good for her.
The Starkeeper. Good man is too.
The Starkeeper. And, like... I recognize an admin guy when I see one. He's an admin guy. He's like, let's pull out the book and look at that. But anyways, I digress. So he tries to give her this star. He tells her, like, I was friends with your dad. Your dad wasn't a loser, yada, yada. And he's like, here, take this star. I brought this to you. It's like from heaven. And she's like, this is like, you're fucking creeping me out. I've never met you before. Let go of me. Let go of me. And then he hits her. And he has the ability to, like, make himself visible and not visible. So, like, he makes himself invisible. And, like, Julie comes back out. And then we get the worst bit of dialogue I've ever fucking heard in anything ever. Oh my god,
it's so bad.
I paraphrased it as, I'd recognize that beating anywhere. Because Louise basically says, is it possible for someone to hit you and it hit so softly it felt like a kiss or something to like that extent?
Yeah. Oh
and
my
I was
god.
And Julie is like, oh, I'd recognize that. Surely that was him, you know, like, Jesus fucking Christ. So they go to the graduation. And clearly it's like he's fucked up. It's obvious he's fucked up. He didn't really help the daughter. And the guy's going to take him back. And he's like, wait, give me another chance. So they go to this graduation scene because Louise is about to graduate high school. And I'm assuming whatever school you graduate from at 15. They're at the scene and, like, some guy who looks just like the Star Keeper is the one giving the graduation address. And, like, he just sits behind his daughter invisible and goes, believe him. Believe him. And this man's like, you're not the byproduct of your parents. You can go out in the world and be whatever you want, you know? And she's just like, yeah, I just feel like I need to believe him. And she connects emotionally and all of her problems are solved or whatever. And then he goes and he stands behind Julie and he's like, I loved you. And Julie's like, I can feel him in the breeze beating me. Like, and then that's the musical.
Yep.
That's Carousel.
Carousel is a weird freaking musical. But it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous and it was so well done. It's just, I
don't think I'll ever watch it again.
It was a journey. I'm gonna listen to You'll Never Walk Alone until that fucking record breaks, but...
Are you ready for why it's so weird?
Sure.
Carousel is a movie based on a musical, based on a play. Whereas Green Grow the Lilacs of Oklahoma was a less-known play, this was based on a well-known play at the time called Lilium by a Hungarian playwright. His name was Ferenc Molnar, right? His production, like, there are film adaptations of Lilium, the original play. One of them was done by Fritz Lang. Elia Kazan was in a production of this. He played the criminal.
Elia Kazan was the director of On the Waterfront, and Fritz Lang was the director of the classic Metropolis.
Yeah.
Which is one of the most iconic silent films out there. I'm sure you've seen it. It's the one with the robots and
we get a lot of that
industrial stuff.
Yeah, that aesthetic. A lot of
futurism.
Art Deco. A lot of that Art Deco aesthetic from Metropolis. But so this play had a pedigree beforehand. The plot of the play is similar to Carousel. I will tell you, fun fact first thing, Rodgers and Hammerstein were not the first musicians to try to adapt this.
Interesting.
There is an alternative universe somewhere where the first musician got a yes, and we would have had an opera of this story by Giacomo Puccini.
Really?
He approached the author first and got shot down. We almost got this as an opera.
Who shoots down Puccini?
And then accepts Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Okay, well, I get that, but they weren't that experienced yet, were they?
This was their second production together.
This is right after Oklahoma.
Yeah, but basically, like, the guy from MGM told them, like, I think Sam from Metro-Goldwyn said, hey, you know what? You guys fucked up. Basically, yeah. He basically said, like, you should just shoot yourselves now because Oklahoma was so popular, you're never going to top it. It was their first musical together. So,
which is hilarious because
it's
their least popular one.
Well, I mean, it's still very popular now, which is we didn't like it as much.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't compare it to
like
the sound of music.
Yeah, I know. So this was their second outing together, and this was really a passion project for them to adapt this. So the original play, I think I maintain, I think I would really prefer the original play over this because at least the story makes sense. We start in purgatory.
Oh.
Lilium is the main character, and he, so I'll just, for the interest of keeping things easy, I'm just going to use the same names from Carousel.
That's fine.
So Billy is in purgatory, and basically what happens is he was a barker, right, for a carousel, and Julie in this version is a maid, and she works at the same hotel that Mr. Snow is a porter at. And I don't know what Carrie does, but they're all friendly. And Julie hooks up with Billy, and they, the same story with the pregnancy and everything like that. He decides he is going to rob this guy so they can get enough money to go to America.
Oh.
To leave Budapest, because it's set in Budapest.
Right.
So they want to break the cycle and get out of poverty. So he's going to steal.
They also want to get out before World War One.
Yes, he's trying to get out of Hungary, and they're trying to go to America.
World War II.
So the theft, the plot to rob makes way more sense in the original context, right? So what ends up happening is he does hit his wife. And it's not on camera, it's not on screen, we don't see it in the play, but we know he's hit his wife and Lilium as well. So he does hit his wife, and then the robbery fails. He commits suicide.
Oh.
Which makes more sense than the accidental, I don't know how to operate a knife death of the musical. But, and I think he actually commits suicide in the stage musical. They did the accidental death for the film, right? So,
why does he kill himself? Because he gets caught?
He's going to get caught. Yeah, he's going to get arrested. So rather than get arrested, he commits suicide. And so he's been in purgatory for 16 fucking years. And they say, hey, you get one chance to fix this. Go down to Earth and do a good deed for your daughter. Wow. And he does not succeed.
Oh, no.
He fucks up. And they literally see him, the end of the play shows him being drug off to hell or whatever.
Fuck.
That makes way more sense.
So it's a failure.
Yeah, it's a tragedy.
Huh.
So when you know that that's the story that Carousel is based on, it makes so much more sense that it's so fucking weird.
Yeah, that makes way more sense.
The original story makes way more sense.
But it's also really hard to imagine a Rodgers and Hammerstein tragedy.
Yeah, they described the second act of it as a dark tunnel that they had to try to avoid. I read a little bit about the initial productions when they put this on. First off, we would not have Carousel if Oklahoma didn't happen, because the reason the Molnar gave them the rights to do what they did was because someone drugged him to see Oklahoma. And he was so impressed with how they adapted Green Grove the Lilacs into Oklahoma that he said, you can touch Lilium, you can do it. After turning down fucking Puccini, which just would have been a banging opera.
Oh my God.
It's an opera plot.
I'm sorry that you were robbed of the opportunity of another Puccini opera.
So they originally wrote it.
By the way, this is not the last time Puccini will be brought up on this podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's just a thing. So they wrote the production, they put everything together, and they staged it, and it was initially incredibly long. Like the ballet portion where Louise is dancing was 40 fucking minutes long, right? So people talked about because from what I understand, Ferenc was involved in this process. He was watching their drafts, watching their productions. He actually liked their ending. He liked the kind of, maybe it's nebulous. A good ending, the nebulous ending where you could hope for a happy ending for the character.
Yeah.
That the daughter gets something out of it. That maybe it's just enough, right? But they got out of a production of it and people were like, this was trash. And they literally sat there and they shredded their musical to bits. That night said, cut this, cut that, cut this, cut that. They were not married to anything. And people commented on how incredibly brave of them it was to just go through and cut stuff because it needed to be cut. So apparently there was more to it, which I think is part of why it feels like lace. Yeah, it feels like there are things that aren't earned. It feels like there are things that are missing because they're adapting a very dark story into a less dark story, and they cut a lot of stuff from it initially. But once they cut stuff, it got a much better response. Yeah. Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting story.
Yeah.
For those of you at home, Ella has refused to tell me any of this until
I've made her wait for 2 days. Yeah. I've been hyping it up at home. Wait till you find out what I found out.
We were going to do this last night, but my car got broken into and my battery caught fire. God damn it. Yesterday was terrible.
It's been a very long year this week.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Nobody was injured.
Yeah.
Just a melty battery.
Yeah, and ironically, the battery does still work.
I still think we need to replace it.
I'm going to replace it.
Okay, good.
But yeah, I'm fine. Everyone's fine, except the towel that we put the fire out with, which is not fine.
Sorry, Comrade Towel.
Yes, Comrade Towel. May he rest in peace.
Just so you know, if there is an electrical fire, you think grease fire, let me smother it. Or you think campfire, let me smother it, it'll be fine. well, don't leave a towel on a battery that was on fire because the heat from the battery, even after you put the initial chemical, like electrical fire out, will catch your towel on fire.
Yes.
So, now, lesson learned. This is why I'm not a firefighter. Although we had like 5 at our house.
I had already gone to bed.
I know. I was like, I've got this. No big deal. We'll jump the car. No big deal. Our friend's battery was dead. And I was like, I know how to use jumper cables. Apparently, I blew her fucking battery up.
No. We did the research.
Yeah,
you didn't fuck it up. It was
there was corrosion on one of the battery terminals.
The corrosion on the dead battery. Resistance heat.
Moral of the story: if you see corrosion on a battery, just don't fucking jump it. Like, don't. And also, turning off a car is not enough to break the circuit. You have to yank the jumper. So let's go through our questions. So we've been we've been asking some questions.
Bechdel test.
Does Carousel pass the Bechdel test?
No, I don't think it does.
Sure.
Oh, yes, it does. There is conversation between Carrie and what's-her-face that's not about the dude, right?
I don't know if it does.
I don't think it does.
Like, there's the scene, like, the song, but, like, Billy just died, and the whole reason that they sing the song is because, like, what am I supposed to fucking do now that my man is gone? Right? And then every conversation Louise has something to do with man. And she only talks to her mother about getting beat or whatever. I don't know. I don't think it does.
I don't think it does either.
Yeah, I don't think it passes the Bechdel test. Who would you want to play in this production, in this musical?
Either gender?
Yeah. I know who I'd play.
I would love to play Billy. Honestly, the music in it is just too good.
Oh, I know who I would play. And I actually think I could stand a good chance of getting cast as this character if I auditioned.
Yeah.
Nettie. I would play Nettie in a heartbeat.
I would play Billy just because I have the voice for it.
Yeah.
And God, Soliloquy is such a beautiful song.
Is it? Okay, so our standout extras are Jack Sprat and his wife.
Yeah, fat guy, little guy. Or fat girl, little
guy. And then we have favorite musical number.
I mean, for me, it's a toss-up between Soliloquy and You'll Never Walk Alone.
Yeah, same. I don't want to pick. I like them both.
It's absolutely gorgeous. And honorable mention for that damn dance scene.
Yeah, God, it was so good. Okay, we're going to do some ratings now. Okay.
So, overall singing, I'm going to go high on this. I'm going to say a 9.
Yeah, everybody was good. Even Mr. Snow had a really solid singing voice.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to go with a 9. I agree with you on that one. The acting, I thought it was all really genuine. It was,
yeah, better than Oklahoma.
I don't like the writing of the story, but it was acted really well. They all seem like actual people.
Yeah,
I'd go
a little lower.
What are you going to go for the acting?
Yeah, I'm going to say probably like an 8, but not super low.
So you think an 8?
I think an 8. You can go higher if you want.
Well, I mean, like, I gave Oklahoma a 3 by comparison, so I...
Like a little lower, like a 7.5?
I don't know. You're welcome to give it an 8 if you think. I think maybe like a 7.
Yeah, I'm convinced to 7.
Yeah. I feel like a 10 is gotta be, like, the best acting you've ever seen in a musical, right? Like Hugh Jackman's snotty nose maybe in Les Mis or something? I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's What's-Her-Face in Les Mis.
Anne Hathaway in Les Mis.
Yeah, Anne Hathaway in Les Mis.
Okay, set design. Or I guess just like the...
Or fucking What's-His-Face in Richard Gere in Chicago.
Oh my God, yes. The fucking... yeah. Okay, what about like the set design?
The set design, it's kind of a non-thing, really. The set design was good.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's better than Oklahoma. 6, 7.
I don't know. There wasn't anything really exceptional about it.
Yeah, it was just fine.
I think I would probably give it, like, I guess
I'll give it a 5.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 5 too. But does the same score I give Oklahoma. Okay. The costuming.
Costuming was gorgeous.
Okay, so rank it.
What are your thoughts? I go first every time.
No, that's fair. I don't know, like maybe like a 6. There wasn't anything super exciting about it. Billy wore the same outfit the entire production.
That's true.
Billy never changed clothes.
I'll give it a 6.5 just because I love the dresses so much.
Okay, I'll give it a 6 because it was like, it was period accurate, but, they could have at least done more than one outfit. The musical composition.
Gorgeous.
What are you going to give it out of 10?
I have no problems with it at all. I'd give it like an 8 or a 9.
I'm going to give it an 8 because they recycled a fucking song from Oklahoma. That is
I'll
unforgivable.
I'll go with that as an 8.
It would be great.
You Never Walk Alone and Soliloquy, though, are powerful and beautiful songs.
Yeah. So how would you rank it overall?
I liked it. I'll give it a...
You gave Oklahoma a 6.
I'll give it an 8.
Okay. I'm going to give it a 7, which is a passing grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very good, but the plot is terrible.
Yeah.
It's a terrible plot.
I
I can't be like, you should watch Carousel. It's depressing. The
yeah,
plot
it
is
is
just...
depressing. It's a weird musical. There aren't that many musicals out there that are goddamn depressing, but there are some.
Yeah.
Sweeney Todd.
Yeah. But Sweeney Todd, like, knows it's depressing. That's the thing there's like this juxtaposition.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's like it's trying to not be depressing. Like, everything is fine.
Yeah, because it's a Rodgers and Hammerstein. It's not Sondheim. It's fucking Rodgers and Hammerstein.
And, like...
So...
They're like, this is a love story. But, like, it's a story of abuse. It's a tragedy. Like, I think that's where the disconnect is. It's kind of like that toxic positive friend.
Yeah.
You know, trying to tell a tragedy.
Yeah. And like, if it's a tragedy, let it be a tragedy.
Oh my god, I just thought of the perfect analogy for this. You remember AI, the movie with Haley Joel Osment?
Vaguely.
Okay, so AI was originally conceptualized by Steven Spielberg's friend, Stanley Kubrick.
Oh.
Yeah. So Stanley Kubrick loved this story and wanted to tell this story, but never got a chance to do it, and felt like he wasn't the director for it because he just told, like, dark stories, right? So Steven Spielberg directed this movie in honor of Stanley Kubrick, and it's such a weird movie.
Yeah,
because it's him trying
to
direct a cross-style, cross-genre, basically.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. It's Rodgers and Hammerstein basically trying to write a tragic opera. Yeah. And it's just not their thing. I will say, though, this is Rodgers' favorite musical they ever wrote.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really solid piece of musical
The music
theater.
in it's really pretty. The story just kind of suffers from
it. To me, it's a fantastic piece of musical theater. I have really no problem with
question that we had from last one. We talked about ethnic stereotypes or, like, people being portrayed in a negative way. I didn't really notice anything.
I didn't notice anything about that. I mean, granted, it is white.
Yeah, it's in Maine. It's only white people.
Yeah,
but they didn't depict Carousel. They didn't depict carnival workers as negative or down on anything like that.
The owner was a piece of shit,
but not because she owned a carousel, just because she was.
But fuck owners. I'm a leftist.
Yeah. That, and then does the story hold up by, like, today's standards?
No. Well, I don't know. The wife beating happens, but it's pretty harshly criticized in the story by everyone except Julie. And that's the weird thing, is that, like, she's so in love with him, and it really is like battered wife syndrome.
It's so accurate,
but
right?
the society at large, I think, I didn't really have a problem with it. The relationship between Carrie and Mr. Stowe is a little but
the Mr. Snow's reaction to Carrie being preyed upon is sketch.
I mean, it's sketch, but I'm not sure it's not realistic.
It is realistic. Yeah, it's very realistic.
Yeah.
Even by today's standards. I feel like it holds up.
I think it holds up.
And honestly, like, even though I found it really frustrating, like, it's in society, it's more likely that you're going to meet a Julie.
Yeah.
Especially if someone's dealing with domestic violence. Like, fawn is a valid reaction to trauma.
Everybody thinks of the 3 reactions to trauma being fight, flight, or freeze. There is a 4th reaction that's not talked about commonly, which is to fawn. And this happens very specifically in instances of trigger warning, if you don't want to hear this, 30 seconds advance, in relationship to sexual assault.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go into the details of it because it's triggering for me. I'm sure it would be triggering for everybody else.
But fawn is a valid response.
It is.
It's kind of like in the same way that, like, women feel like they have to let men down easy whenever they come onto them.
Yes.
Because you don't know which guy's going to be like, oh, no big deal, and which guy's going to follow you out to your car and shank you.
Yeah, and kill you.
Yeah. And that could be the best thing that happens. Yeah. So fawn is a valid reaction, and that's what Julie does when, faced with the thought of somebody that she's so enamored with physically laying hands on her. Is just you deal with it, and I think that unfortunately even today there are people in Julie's shoes.
Yeah, and on that super duper positive note.
Yay, we watched Carousel, the domestic violence musical.
Yeah, man.
Man,
it was a really good production. The subject matter is twisted.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So, I think for our next musical, we're going to take a break from Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Yes.
We're going to watch something really deep and really thought-provoking.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And this is going to be fun because it's a musical I've actually been in. And Austin hasn't seen. But I hate it, guys. Don't worry.
Guys and Dolls.
Guys and Dolls. Ooh. So, thanks for tuning in. And you guys...
Don't drive like my wife.
I drive like an asshole. I have a
Oh, no, that was a joke.
What?
You've never seen Car Talk, have you?
Oh, no. I'm sorry.
It's supposed to say, don't drive like my wife.
Oh.
That's because the guys say, don't drive like my brother. Yeah, don't drive like my brother.
Oh.
No.
I probably should watch Car Talk.
Let's try that again.
Okay, wait. Let's try another outro. Okay. I don't want to do Car Talk because I haven't seen it.
That's fine.
I was just going to say, like, drive safe and don't put jumper cables on Corona batteries.
Drive safe and don't beat your wife. Thanks,
there
guys.
There we go. Yeah.